Hello, I'm a PX Sleeker, and this is Q&A Saturday, the weekly series I run on my channel where I answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so on my channel, and I basically go through and respond to a lot of things the community has been asking about various things going on this week. So obviously, most of these questions tend to revolve about Minecraft console and the next update and the Better Together update and all this sort of stuff, but also just about general things people have wanted to ask me about life and the universe in general. So hopefully you all do enjoy this week's Q&A. You can like it if you do like it because it helps out the channel, and let us know you do like this sort of video. But with that said, let's get straight into the very first question, shall we, which comes in from Richard Orokozo, or Orozoko, who says, what do you think about Mojang Minecraft forcing you to switch to a new version? So this is in reference to the Xbox and the Switch, which are going to be replaced, by the current console version that are going to be replaced by the Pocket Edition, basically. And what do I think about this? I don't really like it. I think they could have done it so much better. They could have made this just a pure upside thing, but because they're doing it now early, I think it's a little bit of a poor decision, but I think that they've already made it, and they made it with the assumption that just like everyone on console would be so excited to leave behind the old version and immediately switch to the new one, or at least something along those lines, and they just don't understand why we're upset. And I think that's honestly why they've moved forward with it regardless. I think it kind of sucks, but I think when it comes to this sort of thing, we kind of have to just keep on moving with how things are. Like, we can keep dwelling over the fact that our own Minecraft's going away, and that kind of sucks for Xbox One users, but I don't think there's anything we can really do about it at this point, even though, like, we've tried and we've, set up petitions and we've said this or that. They haven't responded to any of it, and they've kind of just kept on moving forward and haven't changed their plans in the slightest. So I'd like to see all the new, console features come to the new version, and I'm still excited to play the new version. I just think it's kind of a shame that, like, nothing was listened to, and I think that's kind of the forcing. Like, if the best thing they could have done was to just make the new version better than the old version in every way, so that they're forcing you to switch to it, but they're forcing you to switch to something better. But right now they're kind of forcing you to lose a few features, and we don't know if we're going to get them for a while, and that's why I'm kind of disappointed with it. So yeah, there's your answer, and there's why I'm kind of like a little bit neutral on it now, because, it's happened, and I don't think they're changing it, and they haven't even shown a single sign of changing it. So I think we kind of have to accept that, yes, we're going to be playing the brand new edition on Minecraft console as of, the full, which is, I guess, a bit of a weird thing to think about. So with that said, let's move on to the second question, which comes in from Panda X Let's Play, who says, hashtag Q&A, do you play your N64? If so, what game? So here's the funny thing, I keep a Nintendo 64 in the office. A lot of people saw it in the office setup tour, a lot of people commented it. I think that's cool. It's one of my favorite games consoles of all time. I played it a lot when I was younger, but the thing is, when it comes to actually playing N64 games, I always come to the conclusion that, like, oh yeah, so I need this cable, this weird video cable, a converter of that video cable, because no TV has had that input for like this many years, and then I just come to the conclusion that, like, I'll just download an emulator. If you don't know, you can download emulators, and you can do this stuff a lot easier, and I figure, like, I have a physical copy of the game, it's probably fine, and yeah, every time I want to play the N64, I just play it on my PC, funnily enough, so I don't really need the N64 at all. It's more of a decoration piece that makes me feel less bad about just playing the games elsewhere. So yeah, with that said, let's move on to the third question, shall we, which comes in from Jimmy Scherer, who says, why isn't anyone really talking about the Wii U edition? That's what I play on. Anyone? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So to answer your question, Jimmy Scherer, why does no one talk about the Wii U edition? It's because it's one of the minority editions of Minecraft. It's like the PS Vita, where there are some people playing it, maybe like 2% of my viewers playing and watching it, but the truth is, there's not much exclusively going on with these versions, like they're a little bit lower, graphically and, in terms of resolution, all this sort of stuff, but there's no, like, real differences about these versions, so that's why when it comes to these, editions, I just kind of say, like, I'm playing all the versions of Minecraft. I'm playing Minecraft Xbox, but it's exactly the same as Minecraft Wii U, which is the same as PS Vita, etc., etc., and yeah, that's why no one really talks about it. It's because it's kind of covered by other versions, and it's not a particularly well-selling version of the game, and that might seem like, oh, it's like you're disrespecting the Wii U, but no, it's truthfully, like, that's the real reason why no one will talk about it too much, and that, plus the reason that, of course, there is the Switch out now. The Switch is kind of the direct successor and the successful successor to the Wii U, and that's kind of why you don't see too many people talking about that, and that kind of seems like it sucks on the surface, and that's just awful, but you got to kind of think about it that, like, yeah, I guess it doesn't really make too much sense to talk, particularly about this version, in the same way you'd be upset about someone talking about the PS Vita, or if you have a PS Vita, someone would be upset, like, talking so much about the Wii U. It's just one of these things where I think we say Minecraft console, and we include all of the editions, the most played ones, the less played ones, all at once, and then we just kind of assume that most people are playing the 360 or the PS3, sometimes the Xbox One, and sometimes the Switch or the PS4, and then, even less than that, the PS Vita and the Wii U. So that's why we just say Minecraft console. There you go, Mr. Wii U man. Let's move on to the fourth question, which comes in from Bob, who says, hashtag Q&A. How can you transfer your Minecraft world onto the Bedrock edition? So this is a simple thing. Apparently, it's not even going to be like a transfer thing, like Xbox 360 to Xbox One, where you have to press Y, you have to wait a bit, then you have to download it on your Xbox One. Apparently, because it's on the same console, they will be able to just take your worlds on the new version immediately. It will be able to read your Minecraft Xbox save files, and they'll just be available in the new version. That's sounds kind of cool actually, the fact that they'll just be immediately transferable. One of the big things they had to work on was this transfer, and it looks like it's going to be working seamlessly with a few exceptions. Your amplified worlds will transfer over, but you won't be able to rebuild them. Your furnace minecarts turn into regular minecarts, and there's just a few other tiny changes to your world, like the graphics and stuff. But yeah, basically your existing Minecraft world will transfer over to the new version instantaneously without any input required, which is kind of cool if you ask me. So let's move on to the fifth question, shall we? Which comes in from Elindil27, who says, do you think that 4J Studios will ever add different bows, such as the iron bow and gold bow? So yeah, as far as like, should they add different types of bows, it's one of these ideas that I've always had in my head, like, yeah, they really should at some point. Like, it's such an easy thing to, when you think about like easy Minecraft ideas, like add new armor types, add new weapon types, haven't they done that? Well, that's weird. Well, why not add these existing types to new things, like the bow? So you have a bow, then you have an iron bow, then you have a gold bow, then you have a diamond bow. And the truth behind why they haven't, if I had to guess, is probably because one, that adds more complexity to something that doesn't necessarily make sense. Like, you know, like having a diamond bow isn't really that much stronger than having a wooden bow or a golden bow, whatever. But also, I think the second reason would probably have to end up being the complexity of it, because when you think about the bow right now, it's actually insanely powerful. You can basically kill people in one hit if you critical hit or whatever else. And if you think about how powerful a diamond bow would be, if you just scaled it up like double as powerful or 3 times as powerful, it would be insanely OP. And then you might say, well, why not just make the diamond bow the same as the regular bow? But then what you're really asking for is like making the regular bow a lot harder to get, and then no one would ever use the regular bow, and who would ever use the iron bow? And it kind of comes down to that. I think it would be really cool though, like, because different bows, they kind of come, like, it's not necessarily the best idea. I think it would be great if we saw like long bows and short bows and crossbows, you know, bows for different ranges, so that PvP had more of an edge to it, and that, you know, survival was a bit more interesting than just like, here's free wood, here's free string, now you get yourself a bow. But that's kind of my opinion, and that's just something I've always thought. So let's move on to the next question, shall we? Which comes in from Carl the Cat, who says, what is the highest super chat you've ever got? So I got a £50, so $60 super chat once, and that was kind of cool. Bought some pizza with that, and yeah, I think that's actually the highest I've ever gone. Every streamer has this cool story of like, I got a $4,000 super chat. But yeah, for me, it has never happened that way. Maybe if I stream a bunch, that'll happen. And it's kind of interesting, actually, the idea of like these crazy super chats, because single-handedly, one of these kind of makes like the whole month of streaming worth it in a way. So yeah, I also wanted to just ask this question because like it's a stream-related question, and I'll be streaming a lot. Not only, you know, I streamed a lot like on Tuesday and Thursday this week, which isn't a lot, it's the normal amount, but I'm going to be streaming a lot next week, I believe, because I want to just, you know, stream a bunch. It's fun. I have a lot of fun hanging out with chat, and if you want to hang out next week, 8 PM UK time is roughly when I'm usually streaming. If you follow me at IBXToycat on Twitter, you can know more, but if you want to actually keep up to date with these streams, you probably do have to either subscribe with notifications on, or what I recommend is generally following me on Twitter, have notifications on there, or like just check it back regularly, because I'll tweet out when I'm streaming, and YouTube doesn't necessarily show you when I'm streaming unless, you know, like you've got the things turned on. So yeah, follow me at IBXToycat, and next week is stream week, and you should be looking forward to it. So let's move on to the next question, shall we, which comes in from Bouncy, or is that just Bounce with 2 E's? But they say, do you know about Svalbard? Do you consider going there? Cool videos, by the way. So I do know about Svalbard. It's a territory of Norway, so Svalbard and Jan Mayen. It's like way to the north. It's I think it's one of the highest, like, you know, populated points on Earth, and it's really crazy. I'd love to go there sometime. Norwegian fly there, so like it's not too tricky to get there anymore. You only have to take like an indirect flight, and I think it'd be so cool to like see like polar bears, or see the giant frozen things, because when you go that far north, the world just kind of gets a little bit crazy and a little bit insane. So yeah, I'd love to go to Svalbard. I probably will go to Svalbard at some point in the future, because I'd love to go to like every country and then maybe every territory in Europe, and Svalbard sounds like a cool thing to add to the list. So yeah, thank you for the cool videos thing. Let's move on to the next question, which comes in from the Junkcraft. So hashtag the Q&A, what would you buy if you're a billionaire? So the thing about being a billionaire, again, I wanted to be a billionaire a lot when I was younger, so I read a lot into it, and I've like listened to a lot as an adult, and as I understand it, like there's not much about being a billionaire that really separates you from millionaires, other than that you can make these, like, because the most expensive things in life cost millions. There's just no mass market for billionaire products. Even if you want the most expensive everything in the world, the most expensive house, it'll run you back like, 10 million once, or 50 million once, like, and then you have like 50 million assets, so you're not really costing anything. If you want to buy the most expensive car, it's going to cost you like 3 million or 5 million or something like that. All these things only cost like single-digit millions, because those are kind of the most expensive things we have. So if you want to like actually spend your money and get rid of it, as opposed to just like kind of like stay at roughly the same amount, you have to like really go crazy on something. And that's why every now and then I think about like, what ideas could I do if I accidentally became a billionaire? So for instance, I hear Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is just like, I'll give free bananas to everyone in this particular region of Washington. He spends thousands of dollars on free bananas. I don't know if I have that story correct, but it's fun to believe anyway. But I think, it'd be really great to like play around with something like that, increase the price of something globally or decrease or something. So for instance, wouldn't it be great if I could be like, everyone in London gets a free tomato every day, one free tomato every day, just to kind of see how that affects things. Like, you could change the culture of a city that way, because if you just give away, 8 million free tomatoes a day, sure, it costs, thousands of pounds or whatever, but then you could like, change the, if you really like mushrooms, I love mushrooms, give away a free box of mushrooms every single week to every single like person in the store, and then mushrooms become like the best thing. You could like change the taste of a place, you could like make experiments and play with people, and I think that's awful, and I think that's like maybe a problem with things, but I think you could do some really good but also fun things if you're a billionaire. So there's the answer to your question. I thought about that too much, but let's move on to the 9th question, which comes in from Dylan Venegas, who says, #Q&A, do you think the Better Together update is more about negatives and separation? So the thing about the Better Together update is it is a really good idea in theory. Someone came up with the idea and it was like, yeah, this is such a cool one. Console players have wanted these features and that feature for so long. Here's how we can bring it to them. But I think the way they did it was slightly off. I think they should have just said like upfront, like, yeah, we're doing this and it's gonna suck for these reasons, but it's gonna be great because rounds and servers. But instead they're just like, hey, there's gonna be a Better Together update and it brings these things, and try not to think about the old Minecraft because we're not updating it. I just think like, because it was kind of sneaky, I didn't like that so much. Yeah, I don't think it actually is more about negatives. I think it does bring more, collectivity. If you have Book Edition friends, they're coming over. I just think that they should have addressed so many things that people are concerned about. Like, oh yeah, the Pocket Edition costs way less than the console. Now we have to pay for the console version, to get the Pocket Edition, but we play 4 times more, and we play a monthly subscription for Xbox Live. That's kind of weird. Like all these different things they've got to think about that they just kind of haven't answered because they didn't think about it too much from practicality terms. And yeah, it's something I'd really like to see personally. But with that said, let's move to the final question, which comes in from Freezing Gamer HD, who says, #Q&A, can you talk a little less when explaining a question? Just give it to us straight, don't keep us talking for like 5 years. And to answer your question, no. So I hope you all enjoyed this week's Q&A Saturday. You can like this video if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know you do like the Q&As, share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.